beautiful friends. Welcome to Funday Monday number 8 as we create our second hat for our Hat Not Hate project. So if you are ready to get started, go ahead and grab your hooks, your yarn, and everything that you're going to need, and I will meet you over at the craft table. And as you're making your way to your craft table, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce our next hat to you. It is one that I have designed myself. I'm very excited about it. It is my first hat that I've ever created, and I am calling it the double layer puff hat. And this is what the top looks like. And I've just chosen today to put it on my male mannequin, but this could be worn by a male or a female. All right, so if you're ready to get started and make the double layer puff hat, I'll meet you over at the craft table. So here's a look at the things that we will actually need. You will need a pair of scissors. You will need a yarn needle. You may or may not want a stitch counter. We can use it, but for some of you, it may not be necessary. We are going to be using a J 6-point-millimeter hook. I don't think you can see that 6 very well because it kind of blends in. You might can right there. That is a J hook. And the yarn you're going to use, again, I am using Craft Smart yarn. It's the Valure. It is 100% acrylic, and let's see, it is the colorway Twilight. It is machine washable and dryable, and I purchased this from Michael's on April 20th of this year. And then last but not least, you know how I like to always put lotion on my hands to keep my hands moist, so that I am taking care of my best tool. So we're going to start with the magic ring, and if you're not comfortable with the magic ring, you can do one of two things. You can chain 2 and work your stitches into the second chain from the hook. You can chain 4, join with a slip stitch, and create a ring that way and work your stitches in the ring of your chain 4. But for this tutorial, we are going to do a magic ring, and to do that, we're going to wrap the yarn around the fingers, bring it and wrap it around the back here, and then we're going to take the hook and we're going to go underneath the first strand of yarn, grab the second, pull it through and twist it, and then we're going to come over here and ever so gently grab just the working yarn and pull it through. And there is your magic ring. And now we are going to work 12 half double crochets into that ring. So just in case I've got some new people with us that are just learning to crochet, to do a half double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook into the magic ring, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook, and that is your first half double crochet. Let's do it again. Yarn over, insert the hook into the ring, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now sometimes, just like with a foundation chain, it's hard to get going because you have nothing to hold on to, but just do the best that you can. So yarn over, insert your hook into the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. And that's 3 half double crochets. We're going to work a total of 12 into the ring, so go ahead and do that. As you're working, if your ring starts to get really small and you're starting to lose your end tail, you can always pull it just a little bit to close it in, but don't pull it tight all the way because you want to finish getting all your half double crochets in. So go ahead and finish working your 12 half double crochets, and I will meet you at the end of round 1. All right, so at the end of round 1, you have your 12 half double crochets. Go ahead and pull your tail as tight as you can to close your hole up. So it's all closed in there. All right, we're then going to, let me tighten my loop down here. Insert our hook into the top of that first half double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and work my tail in since this is a hat. And we're going to slip stitch it together. And that ends round 1. We're going to chain 1, and that chain 1 is not going to count as a stitch. And we are going to half double crochet right in that same stitch that we made that chain 1 in. We're going to put another half double crochet right inside that same stitch, and that's going to give us 2 half double crochets right there in that first stitch. We're going to work 2 half double crochets in each stitch around. That is going to give us a total of 24 half double crochets at the end of round 2. So go ahead and work 2 half double crochets in each stitch around, and I will meet you at the end of round 2. And again, we will have 24 half double crochets. All right, so when you get to the end of round 2, you should have 24 half double crochets. Now be careful that you are not working into this stitch right here, which is considered like a false stitch. That is where you actually went in and did a slip stitch to join, which we need to do with this round, okay? And it creates that false stitch right there, because if you end up working into those, then you will end up with a lot more stitches in your rounds than what you need. So always make sure that you're ending with the exact number of stitches that I have indicated. So you should only have 24. All right, so let's chain 1, and we are going to work a half double crochet right into that chain 1 space. And in round 3, we're going to do a repeat pattern of 1, 1, 2. So that will end up with 32 half double crochets at the end. So we worked our first one, here's our second one, and then we're going to do 2 into this stitch for 3 and 4. And we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, a half double crochet into the next stitch, and 2 half double crochets in the next. And let's do one more repeat together. Half double crochet into the next stitch. Whoops, lost it. Half double crochet into the next, and 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. And let's just do one more. 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So continue working all the way around round 3, working your pattern of 1, 1, 2. And I will meet you at the end of round 3. And again, you will have 32 half double crochets at the end of round 3. All right, so we're at the end of round 3. You should have 32 stitches. Remember to not work into that false stitch there. Go right into the top of the first half double crochet and slip stitch to end that round. Chain 1, and we're going to begin round 4. We're going to work a half double crochet right into that same chain 1 space, a half double crochet into the next stitch, a half double crochet into the next stitch, and 2 half double crochets into the next. And that begins the repeat pattern for this round. So we're going to work 1, 1, 1, 2. So let's do another. 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. And let's do one more together. 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So continue working round 4, working your repeat pattern of 1, 1, 1, 2. And when you get to the end of round 4, I will meet back with you. And remember, at the end of this round, you will have a total of 40 stitches. And before I stop with you, and before our hat gets any bigger, I like to mark mine so I keep a reminder of which is my right side and which is my wrong side. Remember, right side is the side that will be facing out when worn, and wrong side is the side that will be up near the head. All right, and I will see you at the end of round 4. So again, at the end of round 4, you will have 40 half double crochets. Now remember to make sure you skip over this false stitch right there. All right, so let's go ahead and go into the top of our first half double crochet and slip stitch to join the round. Chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and we're going to half double crochet right into that same chain 1 space. We're going to half double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to half double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to half double crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to do 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So our repeat pattern for round 5 is going to be 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. All right, so let's do another one. Half double crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, and half double crochet into, the next stitch, and then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. Let's do one more repeat together. 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, 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 and then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch. So our pattern repeat again is 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. So continue working 4 stitches with 1 half double crochet in each, and then 1 stitch with 2 half double crochets in it, and I will meet you at the end of round 5. When you get to the end of round 5, you should have a total of 48 half double crochets. All right, we're at the end of round 5. You should have 48 stitches. Remember to skip over that false stitch right there. Go into the top of that first half double crochet, slip stitch to join. Chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and we're going to half double crochet right into that chain 1 space. Now, the repeat pattern for this one, we're going to chain 1 at the top of that half double crochet. We're going to skip a stitch, and we're going to half double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to chain 1, we're going to skip a stitch, and we're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and do a half double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and half double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and half double crochet into the next stitch. And then this is what you are creating right here. So you have these little chain 1 spaces. So we're going to keep chaining 1 at the top of our half double crochet, skip a stitch, and then do a half double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to continue this little repeat pattern all the way around for round 6. When we get to the end, we will have 24 half double crochets and 24 chain 1 spaces, giving us a total of 48 stitches. So go ahead and continue working that all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 6. So at the end of round 6, you are going to again have 24 half double crochets and 24 chain 1 spaces. You're going to see that your hat is actually starting to curve in a little bit naturally. Just kind of bend it back out so that it's keeping the shape correctly. All right. And so you should have had 1 stitch left, but remember you've got your chain 1, so that's going to go over it. We're skipping that false stitch, so we're going to go right into the top of the first half double crochet and slip stitch to join. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to begin round 7, and we're going to do 1 half double crochet right into that same chain 1 stitch. All right. Now, going into this chain 1 space, we're going to create our puff stitch. And to create a puff stitch, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2, and now you have 2 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, and now you have 3. We're going to complete that stitch 3 more times, so we have a total of 5 of those stitches in this chain 1 space. So let's do that 3 more times. There's 1, 2, and 3. And you'll know that you have a total of 5 because you should end up having 6 loops on your hook, because you started with a loop and then you gained a loop for each one of those stitches you made, giving you a total of 6. You're going to yarn over, pull through all 6 of those loops, yarn over, and chain 1 to secure it. Then we're going to do a half double crochet in the top of our half double crochet. It might be a little tight, so just wiggle your hook in there. And then we're going to do another puff stitch right here in this chain 1 space. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through the first 2, and keep repeating that until you've done it a total of 5 times, and you have a total of 6 loops left on your hook. And there you go. Yarn over, pull through all 6, and chain 1 to secure. Work a half double crochet into the top of your half double crochet, your next half double crochet I should say, and we're going to work a puff stitch again into that next chain 1 space. And we're just going to continue doing that all the way around for round 7, working 1 half double crochet in the top of every half double crochet and 1 puff stitch in every chain 1 space. When you get to the end of row 7, you will have 24 half double crochets and you will have 24 puff stitches. So continue working on that, and I will meet you at the end of round 7. All right, so we are at the end of our 7th round. You should have 24 half double crochets and 24 puff stitches. Again, we're going to be careful not to work anything into this false stitch. You should have ended with a puff stitch, and we're going to slide right into the top of that first half double crochet and slip stitch. chain 1, and then half double crochet right into the same stitch as your chain 1. All right, now the last row, round 7, ended with 48 stitches. In this round, we need to end up with a total of 60 stitches in order to be able to have the circumference that we're going to need for our hat. And this is how we're going to obtain that. So that is our first stitch of the round. Our second stitch is going to be a half double crochet right in the very top of that puff stitch. And I'm going to work this entire round with you. Our third stitch is going to be a half double crochet in the top of the next half double crochet. Now we have to pick up a total of 12 extra stitches in this round, and this is where we're going to do it. Every 4 stitches is where we're going to add our extra stitch. And when you're looking at your puff stitch, you've got your stitch right here in the top of your puff stitch, but you have the chain 1 space right here when you closed up your puff stitch. That's where we're going to make that 4th half double crochet, is right here in that chain 1 space. So go ahead and make a half double crochet there. And then in our 5th spot, we're going to do it in the very top of the puff stitch. And that's going to be our repeat pattern all the way around for this round. So if you want, we're going to count it in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That way we stay in sync. And we know that on the 4th half double crochet, we're adding that extra stitch. All right. So for our next stitch, which will be stitch 1, we're going to go right in the top of the half double crochet. Stitch 2 is going to go right in the top of the puff stitch. Stitch 3 is going to go right in the top of that half double crochet. Stitch 4 is going to go into the chain 1 space of the puff stitch. And I got a little tangle in my yarn here. All right, there we go. And our 5th stitch is going to go right in the top of that puff stitch. Okay, our next one is going to go on the top of the next half double crochet. Our next one is going to go into the top of the puff stitch. Our third one is going to go in the top of the next half double crochet. And our 4th one is going to go right here in the chain 1 of the puff. And our 5th one is going to go in the top of the puff stitch. And it might be a little tight. You just have to wiggle it in there. All right. Stitch 1, or in there half double crochets always, is going in the top of the next half double crochet. Stitch 2 is going in the top of the puff stitch. 3 is going in the top of the next half double crochet. And the 4th half double crochet is going right here in this chain 1 space of the puff stitch. And the 5th half double crochet is going into the top of the puff stitch. And we're just going to keep working that around. Our first half double crochet goes in the top of the half double crochet. Our second one goes into the top of the puff stitch. Our third one goes into the top of the half double crochet. Our fourth one goes into the chain one space of the puff stitch, and our fifth one goes into the top of the puff stitch. And we're going to keep repeating it. Our first one goes into the half double crochet. Our second one goes into the top of the puff stitch. Our third one goes into the top of the half double crochet. Our fourth one goes into the chain one space of the puff stitch, and the fifth one goes into the top of the puff stitch. All right. Stitch 1 goes into the top of the next half double crochet. Stitch 2 goes into the top of the puff stitch. Stitch 3 goes into the top of the next half double crochet. Stitch 4 goes into the chain one space of the puff stitch. And the fifth one goes into the top of the puff stitch. All right, 1 goes into the next half double crochet. 2 goes into the top of the puff stitch. 3 goes into the top of the next half double crochet. 4 goes into the chain one space of the puff stitch. And the fifth one goes into the top of the puff stitch. We're almost there. All right, the first half double crochet goes into the top of the next half double crochet. The second one goes into the top of the puff stitch. The third one goes into the top of the next half double crochet. The fourth one goes into the chain one space of the puff stitch. And the fifth one goes in the top of the puff stitch. The first half double crochet goes into the top of the next half double crochet. The second one in the top of the puff stitch. The third one in the top of the next half double crochet. The fourth one in the chain one space of the puff stitch. And the fifth one in the top of the puff stitch. And it looks like we got about maybe one more set left to do. All right, 1 goes into the top of the next half double crochet. 2 goes in the top of the puff stitch. 3 goes into the top of the next half double crochet. 4 goes into the chain one space of the puff stitch, and the fifth one goes into the top of the puff stitch. So let's count and make sure we have all of our 60 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and that makes 60. So we've got them all. So as we have done before, we are going to go right here in the top of this first half double crochet, and we're going to slip stitch. Let me tighten my loops up here a little bit. Oops, we're slip stitching. Okay, go in the top of this first half double crochet and slip stitch to join, chain 1, and as you can see, your hat is finally starting to forming. Okay, all right, so moving on to round 9, we are going to half double crochet in our chain 1 space. Remember, our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And we are just going to simply half double crochet in each stitch around, and that will continue to give us 60 half double crochets. So go ahead and finish working round 9, and I will meet you at the end of the round, and we will finish 9 and start on 10 together. You will still have 60 half double crochets. You will not do anything into this false stitch right here, but we will go into the very top of the first half double crochet. We're going to slip stitch, chain 1, and now you can really see how your hat is starting to take formation. So the next 4 rows, rows 10, 11, 12, and 13, are going to be our repeating rows for the body of our hat. So for row 10, we are going to chain 1, which we've already done, and we're going to half double crochet into that same space as the chain 1. We're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the next space, and we're going to work a half double crochet. We're going to chain 1, skip our next space, we're going to go into the next stitch, and I keep saying space, I mean stitch. We're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to work a half double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, work a half double crochet into the next, and we're going to keep doing that all the way around. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, work a half double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, work a half double crochet into the next stitch. And this is where we create that little lattice work like we did in round 6, where our puff stitches are going to be housed. So let's continue chaining 1, skipping a stitch, putting a half double crochet into the next stitch, and continue doing that all the way around. And when you get finished, I will meet back up with you at the end of this round, which is round 10, and we will complete it and begin round 11. So at the end of round 10, after you've chained 1, you have 1 stitch left, but we're going to skip that because that's the stitch we skip to create our chain 1 space. So then we're going to come over here to the top of our first half double crochet, and we're going to slip stitch to join the round, chain 1, and at the end of this round you should have a total of 30 half double crochets and 30 chain 1 spaces, which give you a total of 60 stitches. Now going on into round, I'm so used to doing rows. Round 11, we are going to half double crochet right into that same space as our chain 1. And then we are going to do a puff stitch into our chain 1 space. And it is exactly done the same way as we did round 7. half double crochet in the top of the next half double crochet, and a puff stitch in that chain 1 space. And 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to half double crochet into the top of the next half double crochet, and a puff stitch into the next chain 1 space. And we're going to complete that all the way around, doing the half double crochet in the top of every half double crochet and a puff stitch in every chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 1 round too many. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, actually I didn't. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. All right, so complete your half double crochets and your puff stitches all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 11. And I'll show you how to fasten off and start round 12. We're going to skip the false stitch, and we're going to go right into the top of that first half double crochet, and we're going to slip stitch and chain 1. And so at the end of this round, you should have 30 half double crochets and 30 puff stitches, which give you a total of 60 stitches. All right, we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the same space as the chain 1 space. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And we're going to go to the top of the puff stitch, and we're going to do a half double crochet. We're going to go to the top of the half double crochet and make a half double crochet. That sounded weird. We're going to go to the top of the puff stitch and make a half double crochet. How about this? We'll go to the next half double crochet in the previous row and make a half double crochet. And we're going to go at the top of the puff stitch and make a half double crochet. Go to the next half double crochet of the previous row and make 1 half double crochet. Top of the puff stitch, make 1 half double crochet, and we're going to continue that all the way around row 12. So I'll meet back with you when you get to the end of this round, not row. Sorry guys. We are at the end of round 12. You should have a total of 60 half double crochets. Your hat should be taking shape very, very nicely, almost looking like a bowl. And we're going to end this round by just doing a slip stitch into the first half double crochet from the beginning of the round. Chain 1 and do a half double crochet right into that same space as the chain 1. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And we are going to half double crochet into the next stitch, and we are going to continue putting 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet of the previous round, and that will complete round 13. So go ahead and work your half double crochets around and I will meet you at the end of row 13, and I will tell you how to proceed. At the end of round 13, make sure you do not crochet into the false stitch. Go right into the top of the first half double crochet from the round and do a slip stitch. And you might want to just double check and make sure that you only have 60 half double crochets in the end of round 13. All right, chain 1, rounds 14, 15, 16, and 17 will be a repeat of rows 10, 11, 12, and 13. Rows 18, 19, 20, and 21 will be a repeat of rows 10, 11, 12, and 13. So for rows 14 through 21, you are just going to repeat rows 10 through 13 2 more times. When you have that finished, I will meet back up with you at the end of round 21. We will finish round 21 together, and we will complete the last round of round 22, and then we will have a complete hat. So go ahead and work rounds 10, 11, 12, and 13 2 more times, and I will meet back up with you, and we'll finish our hat. At the end of round 21, we're going to go right into the top of the first half double crochet from the beginning of round 21 and do a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work a single crochet right into that chain 1 space. And then we are going to work a single crochet into the next stitch, and we're going to work a single crochet into each half double crochet all the way around. So you will end round 22 with 60 single crochets. So go ahead and work 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and I will meet you at the end of round 22. And action. At the end of round 22, we're going to also make sure that we are not making a stitch into that false stitch, and we're going to go right into the top of the first single crochet and do a slip stitch. We're going to chain 1, then we're going to cut a short little tail, pull our yarn all the way through, secure our knot down, and grab our yarn needle, and this is the right side of my work. I like to always yarn my tails in on the wrong side, so I'm going to turn my hat wrong side out. And I'm going to come down a few stitches here like that, and then I'm just going to work in a few of these stitches like this, just going underneath that top side there. And then I'm going to skip over the last one I came under and go over it, and then go right back through the stitches that I just came through. Then I like to do it one more time, so go over the top of the last one that I came through, and then go back underneath the rest of the ones. Give it a nice little tug, make sure it's all secure in there, and then go ahead trim off the rest of it. And turn my hat back right side out. And I'm going to go ahead and remove my stitch marker. And voila. There is my double layer puff hat. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial and are enjoying being a part of the Hat Not Hate project. And I hope you have a great week. And until next time, be joyful, stay crafty in your own way, and make your own joyful creations. Have a wonderful week. Bye.